So I always like to kick us off with introductions of the CARES Act grants team. And I see that Jerome is on the call. So Jerome, would you like to enter in and introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How you doing? My name is Jerome McCray. I'm a part of the budget development team. I'm the new grants management analyst.
All right. Thank you, Jerome. I'm looking to see who all is on the call. I don't see Sabrina yet. Do we have anyone from financial services on the call today?
Yvonne, there's somebody with their mic on. I can barely hear you.
All right, how is that?
It's much better, Yvonne.
All right, so you're able to hear me, right? Okay, all right, thank you. Because I'm not hearing all the sound in the background, and I'm in the office today, and I'm using a headset, so it's interesting. It changes my hearing perception. So, other members of the CARES Act grant team, anyone else on the call? All right. Well, not seeing anyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. I only have a couple of updates this morning. As we have talked to previously, we know that our schools are in a lot of different places with the expenditures of the funds. And I really appreciate the opportunity for our well-seasoned CARES Act users providing that additional assistance and recommended ideas. Recently, there has been an uptick in the number of schools that hadn't previously accessed their CARES Act funds. So I know that some of you may think that, you know, the question, we have been doing this for a while, but I just want to make sure that we're honoring that everyone is in different stages within the process of expending their CARES Act funding. So the first question that I received from several schools this week is the fact that schools are out of hourly technical funds, and so one of the questions is, I'm out of CARES Act hourly technical and I want to continue to pay my parent liaison. Can I move funds from hourly teacher to charge hourly technical work to hourly teacher in CARES? And the answer to that is no. So the schools were allocated funds for hourly teacher, hourly technical, and PPE. Those funds cannot be moved between commitment items. So additionally, if you have a non-exempt employee who has been charging to hourly technical and the hourly technical is depleted, in order for that work to continue, you would have to charge that to your operating funds moving forward. Any questions about that? I want to make sure that I know that a number of schools are starting to run out of even their hourly teacher funds, but yet they may have hourly technical, right? And so I just want to make sure that everyone understands that when the funding was allocated for hourly teacher, the identified needs during the time that the application was generated and submitted to VDOE, the identified need was to provide intervention for students, and families were saying, we're not hearing from our child's teacher, or we don't know how to support our child with instruction at home. So the hourly teacher was uh, planned to address those areas. The main focus of the hourly technical work, we know that there were thousands of learning packets mailed to families over the summer, and Title I had also worked with the foundation to send out school supplies to all of the Title I schools, and then all of the students that were considered free and reduced lunch. And we had thousands of instructional materials returned. So we quickly recognized that there was a need to ensure that SIS was updated, and we knew that that collaboration between the registrars and the parent liaisons was going to be a huge lift. And so placing that funding in hourly technical, that definitely was an identified need. In addition, as we went along, there was laptop distribution and school supplies distribution, and per HR, because of the non-instructional nature of the supply distribution, that time also needed to be charged to hourly technical. So I just want to, as we begin running down balances, or for schools that are just starting to expend their balances, just emphasizing that we can't move the funding from one commitment item to another. Another common question that I have gotten this week for schools that are just beginning to expend their CARES funds is, can they purchase items outside of the warehouse? And the answer to that is, we prefer the warehouse be utilized first. I had an executive principal reach out to me this week and was asking about plexiglass, and just making sure that when folks are asked, that you continue to check the warehouse list on the CARES Act website, because the list continues to be updated, and there are plexiglass sneeze guards or dividers in the warehouse. So we do ask that you tap those warehouse items first, but if you decide you're going to go outside to Amazon, please make sure that you're utilizing TOPS to get pre-approval to make sure the items are allowable. Just a reminder that for the PPE, or for the 515022, it's listed as a cleaning supply. However, it's cleaning supplies and personal protective equipment, right? And there may be items that you may think would be allowable that may not be. Please feel free to email me in advance if you have questions about any specific items. I got a couple of, I love the fact that the schools are thinking outside the box with the return to school for 4 days. And I did get some requests this week that would not be allowable under CARE. So if you're questioning it, please reach out to one of your analysts or myself, and we can definitely provide you some guidance on that. So I'm going to pause. I see a question in the chat that I want to make sure. Oh, there's just a lot of feedback. Oh, Susan. A teacher took sick leave but entered hours for CARES on the same sick leave day. Do we record both the sick leave and CARES hours on the FS 174? And the answer to that, Susan, is yes, right? So line one would be the contract time. So depending upon the number of hours she took for sick leave, you would report the contract time, then you would report the sick leave time, and then the CARES Act hours, the day the full day was taken. Okay, so in that case, it would be 0 for contract time, 7.5 for sick leave, and then whatever time she put towards CARES Act. Great question, Susan. So I'm going to pause. So I see Sandy Grimes has joined us. So Sandy, do you have any updates for us today?
Actually, I don't have a lot of updates other than to tell people that please make sure, as we're doing the reconciliations in my weekly email last week, everybody should be getting and be able to print their Orbit FMRs for CARES Act grant funding. They're getting lots of questions, and one of the questions we got was, we did a reclass of expenditures for PPE, and some schools were trying to find, because we reclassed for the schools. So we actually centrally did those journal entries. And now that schools are printing their FMRs and stuff, they're trying to figure out what month those charges go with. So as you guys were entering those shopping carts and doing those shopping carts directly against the statistical order number, you would have been saving that documentation in your CARES Act grant folders anyway. But when we centralized and did that reclass of journal entries, I believe that central office did them for like July through, well, actually they've done through October, so they did October through December. So you need to go back and look in your CARES Act folder, and hopefully you have saved your POs so that you can compare them to the reclass to make sure the documents are kind of in the month they're supposed to be. But remember, the expenditure for the reclass is going to show up in the month that they do the journal entry. The original expenditures for when you did the shopping cart may be in prior months. Long explanation, but I want everybody to kind of wrap their head around that and know when you go back and look, we want to find those. So
And Sandy, I can tell you that with our team working on the VDOE reimbursement, that for the reclass, because we have to go in and enter the VDOE description for all of those reclasses, and I'm going to say that there have been minimal times when all the documentation hasn't been there. So when Liz is doing the reclass, she's doing a great job of making sure that those items are included. Sorry, I had someone teamsing me at the same time in care, so I apologize.
I went out and looked to see if anybody was signed into the to Microsoft Teams, and I emailed, I think there was one or two, and I emailed those people with the link, just so you guys know, in case they kind of missed. So we want everybody to be able to come to these meetings, but I do believe Google Meet is working better. So
yes. So Sandy, Betty asked the question, if she finds a discrepancy in the CARES Act FRM, how should it be addressed?
I would have her contact her analyst or me. It doesn't matter. It depends on what the discrepancy is. So is there a charge that's showing up that doesn't belong to you? Is it the wrong amount? We need to figure out a little more what is the discrepancy, and then we can guide you as to the best way to fix it. And I will tell you that we are continuing to advise people to look at your balances and to see, because remember, you only got so much funding for all this stuff. So once you're done, it's going to hit your operating fund again, because you only got so much in CARES Act ESSER 1. You can continue, though, to use the statistical order number as you are ordering PPE, because as other funding becomes available, that's how we can track and move those expenditures should other funding become available.
So, are there any additional questions for Sandy?
Yeah, because I have to leave at 10:30. Sorry, I have another meeting, but I am more than happy to answer any questions I can.
So Christine says, I know this has already been discussed, but I would like to get clarification regarding the money in custodial overtime. Can it be moved to custodial supplies? Sandy, I'm going to ask you to take that one.
Yeah. Again, that money that you guys were given for custodial overtime, the extra money that you received was put into the school's operating fund. It's not part of CARES Act grant funding. We did get guidance from budget that the money can be moved within your custodial account to purchase custodial supplies, or to pay custodians hourly if you're having trouble, getting people, or to buy custodial equipment. I have also seen it cannot be moved out of custodial, and we're still in talks with budget as to whether that funding that was given to you guys for custodial is going to be swept at year end. So I'm still waiting for guidance from budget on that, because budget, and they're all talking about it now. They're very aware. So by the time we do the workshops for year end, we should have further guidance for you guys on that stuff.
Sandy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying we can purchase equipment and custodial supplies, like we can move it into there, but you don't know if they're going to take that money away from us? I'm confused.
It could be. It's not. They probably unused funds.
Unused funds. Okay. I didn't want to spend it and then they want it back.
Yeah. No. Unused funds would be swept at year end. So I want to be clear on that.
Thank you.
Unused funding, I believe, will be swept. They may decide to let you keep the 10% and let it fall out. They're still in discussion on that. We will let you guys know as soon as we know. We have made all the players aware, so we can get some final decisions on stuff. We're also looking at the carry forward reports and what needs to stay in the carry forward reports and what might be moved out. Who else has got questions before?
I see Cindy has her hand up.
Yes, Cindy.
Oh, she put it down. All right.
Either
Oh,
I
no, here
answered
she is.
it or we just wanted to see your little one.
Yes. I gotta get my Jackson fix.
Oh, okay. Hold
Okay.
on, she's trying. Better audio's not working. If
Well,
you
what
type
was
it in the, if you can, well, she's holding Jackson. If she types it in the message, we can answer your question. Sorry.
Let me try it from my side, Cindy, to see if I unmute you, if that'll help. No. No, it's not letting me do it from my side. Sorry. Okay, you'll type it. All right. I see a question in the chat from Ellen. She says, when you say equipment, can you give some examples? I know it covers PPE and custodial OT.
Well, an example of equipment would be we had a school order, I believe it was one of those custodial
Electrostatic
cleaners
back.
for the, yeah, there's also the air purifiers and the all stuff that's kind of related to cleaning and stuff, but it's got to really be, yeah, the floor cleaning machines and stuff.
Yeah,
Here-
the
here's what you guys need
electro.
to understand. We don't want you just to buy stuff just to use up the funding, because remember, there's other funding coming and stuff going. There's so, but we want you to get the things that you truly need and use the money appropriately. So I guess what I'm saying is just be mindful, because there is going to be other funding. There are going to be, but we have to be mindful that we still have to stay within guidelines for spending money and looking at, we still are accountable. We're still a public entity, and what we buy and how we use money is looked at.
Yeah.
But if you truly need something, we want to give you the leeway to get it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just a reminder, if you are using CARES Act funding for items considered equipment, digital thermometers, electrostatic backpack sprayers, electronic sprayers, those items are considered equipment, and they need to go on a CARES Act inventory form. I have actually sent out all of the asset tags for the requests that I have. At some point, we are going to have to look at the FMR and reconcile that FMR against each of the school's purchases to make sure we have received your inventory item. And I guess this would be a perfect time for me to also announce that, in previous CARES Act meetings, I kept saying when the auditors come next year, they're going to be looking for, were we in compliance? Do we have all the documentation? And did we follow process? So I was notified on Wednesday that the auditors are actually coming this month. So there will be the CARES Act grants team. CARES Act has been identified for a single audit. So all of those emails that you have gotten from Sandy's team or the emails that you have gotten from me, We are so thankful that all of those emails went out, and we are working with you to get in your documentation now. You'll recall at the last meeting we said, please make sure we're reconciling the FMR through the end of February. Please have all your documents in by this Friday now. Just know that the timing for that has never been better. We have our kickoff meeting with the auditors on Monday, the 26th. So please know that as we get in more information, if there is information that we need from you, we will definitely be reaching out. And if it's coming from me, I will make sure that I preface it with, for auditing purposes, I need this. And as I'm sure you'll understand, when auditors ask for information, we have to quickly respond. So I will thank you in advance for setting us all up for success. And really, we are working on that FMR. We hope to get a reimbursement request into the Virginia Department of Ed by April the 30th. I cannot thank Heidi Salam and Ivy Chen enough for all of the work that they are doing to convert that FMR into the VDOE reimbursement spreadsheet and clean that document, and then enter in all of the VDOE required comments to the level of detail that is required. So thank you for getting your documents in. As you can imagine, we were surprised that they were coming this year and not next year. But we are in good shape with the CARES Act website and the training manual and the CARES Act office hours and the technical assistance that the team has been providing. At this point in the journey, I don't have any concerns, unless your paperwork would not be in the folder. That would be a big concern. I see, Ellen, if we use custodial funding for an electronic backpack sprayer, does that still go on the inventory asset since it's not CARES money? Ellen, the answer to that is no. The only items that have to go on in inventory form are items that were procured with federal money, or they all of the technology items that were ordered on your behalf from IT services. Please know that IT has inventoried all of those items, and they send me a monthly report on those items. So your custodial items, your items purchased against your custodial funds do not need to be on the CARES inventory. Great question, Ellen. Sabrina, I saw that you came in to the office hours. Do you have any updates for us from the compliance office?
Good morning, everyone. No updates at this time, but thanks for the opportunity.
I think I stole your, the auditors are coming, the auditors are coming.
Yeah, you did it justice. So yeah, I think enough said. So
yeah, I believe we're in good shape. You know, when I think of what the attorneys said they would be, what Bruce Dean and Manasavit attorneys said, they're looking for, were we in compliance? We were in compliance with the allowable categories. We've got documentation. We may need some more, but we are reaching out to schools. And if you haven't been contacted by a member of our team, you're in pretty good shape. We do know that we do have some schools whose folders need documents transferred. It may be that you have them in a school folder, but you just haven't transferred them into CARES. If anyone on this call does not have access to the CARES server, please make sure that you email Sandy Grimes or Sabrina. Can you also get them access to that folder?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so
Mhm.
I feel free to email Sandy or Sabrina to make sure that you have access to the CARES folders. And then the last thing I want to mention is when you actually go to the server, there have been documents inadvertently saved outside of the CARES Act folder. So I am going to ask everyone to go and make sure that if any of those documents are yours, that you do transfer those into your school folders. What I'm actually seeing are, I know Sandy's team is doing some cleanup on that. I am seeing some departmental files there that Sabrina, I think we need to email our departmental points of contacts to
Mhm.
say, hey, you know, there are documents saved outside of the CARES folder that
Mhm.
need to be moved to school folders. Unfortunately, I don't have that access to do that.
Okay. I'll take a look.
Sandy's, yeah, Sandy's done a lot of cleanup, but there's still more that we need to make sure that we get documents moved into the right folders. But if everyone on the call could take a look at that as well. I know when I was working on the FMR over spring break, if I couldn't find documents, I was also going out and looking there, just in case you happen to not have gotten it into your school folder. So thank you for that as well. Other questions for anyone else on our team? All right, give me 1 second. I see a hand. Cindy, let's try it again.
I had to just use my phone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm restarting my computer. I don't know what's going on with it. I think we talked about this last time, but I'm not sure if we got a definitive answer. But do we have guidance yet about CARES work that's being performed in June, but we need to like carry it or whatever for July? Or is that something that they'll go over in like the appropriated year-end workshops?
So I can tell you that still, as of today, you should continue to spend your funds through June 30th. We know that those charges will hit into July. Sabrina, do you have any update on that? And I know Sandy departed.
Oh, okay. Yes. Is anyone on from Sandy's team? Because I haven't been involved in those appropriated training preparations.
Yeah, I don't see Heidi or Claudia.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I just wasn't sure if we had been given any direction or I mean, like, I don't know if we need to like put it in the carry application to make sure that like if they're sweeping at year end that they're not sweeping those charges that haven't hit yet, kind of thing.
Right. So Sabrina, we'll definitely need to get clarification on that
Okay.
and provide that as an update in Sandy's weekly newsletter.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Sorry, Cindy. Other questions that you might have? Jerome, did I ask you if you had any updates from the budget side?
No, you didn't ask me, but no, we don't have any updates right now for the budget side.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize for that oversight.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Susan asked, would sick leave need to be recorded on the FS 174 if it is taken on a day CARES hours were not done? Susan, the answer to that is yes, because sick leave would be, no, wait, I'm going to pause. Sabrina, I want to be 100% certain. We did indicate that sick leave would need to be reflected on a separate line, right? Like we would do a holiday, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So Susan, the answer to that is yes.
Mhm.
And in the CARES Act office hour spreadsheet, thanks to the Woodson, I believe it was the Woodson team that provided the print screen. If we go back to question number 7, on February 25th, there is actually a print screen there that you're able to see regular hours, leave. In this case, it was personal, and then CARES intervention and planning. So yes. Great questions, guys. All right. Well, I want to honor your time today. Those are the updates that we have. I will remain on the call until 11 o'clock in case we have some additional folks that come in. But thank you for coming today, and thank you for bringing your questions to the table. And have a great afternoon and a better weekend. Friday is almost here. Thanks, guys, for all you're doing.
Thanks, Yvonne. I'm going to hop off as well. I have
Okay.
competing deadlines here, but certainly let me know if there's anything to follow up on. And I will check the minutes to make sure I get Cindy's question exactly.
Okay.
For following up with Sandy.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. I just think that we've got to get that in the newsletter
Mhm.
for next week.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.